Welcome back, church, for another week here at Lifepoint Online. It's great to have everyone join us. We're going to continue on with our series on thinking faith. And this week, our very own Dan Sweetman, our pastor here, is going to keep going with this series. So we're going to listen to that now. Thanks so much, Dan.
Hey, my name is Dan. Welcome to Lifepoint. There's a few new faces I don't know out there. A huge welcome. Hello. We're talking about what it means to... Hey, Steph. Hey. We're talking about what it means to have a thinking faith in our church at the moment. We're in a series where we're asking the question, do you have to leave your brain at the door to become a Christian, to have some kind of faith? And the answer to that is, no, you don't. We can actually be thinking people. We can be people that actually use our brain, which is, if you're a Christian, you believe God's actually given you a brain, to logically work out that this makes sense. I went through a time in my life, straight out of high school going to university, where, to be honest with you, I felt like throwing the whole Christianity thing away. I've said that already. It was just like, I don't think this makes sense. I can't see it. I can't touch it. I can't test it in a test tube. So I don't think this whole Christianity thing is for me. And I went on a real long journey and got to the point that I think actually Christianity does make sense. And then after a while of searching, I realised Christianity, that doesn't just make sense. My case in this series is it makes the most sense, okay? Nothing else makes more sense in this world. Nothing else explains our world better than the Bible. How about that? In 2021, I still believe the Bible explains us better than anything else. And there's actually a real movement at the moment, not just in Christianity, but outside of Christianity. You might not have heard of this, but there's a big movement of people saying, we should read the Bible again. We should actually go back and have a look at what it said, because it's obviously got wisdom, because it's helped us survive. It's helped us create awesome culture for so long. There's got to be something in it. So I put to you, yes, there is. There is something in it. Today I'm talking about one of the biggest ones for me. This point I'm talking about tonight was the point that it's kind of like the nail in the coffin when it came to secularism for me. Like, this is the thing that said, no, atheism, even being an agnostic, even being a secular person, that's off the agenda for me from now on, because I cannot get past the idea of morality and justice. Morality and justice. Two sides of the same coin. Any firstborn children here tonight? Can I get some nice hands up? Yep, look at you beautiful people. You're leaders, you're intelligent, you're good looking even. Yep, I know. I'm a firstborn myself. You probably already knew that because of the way I hold myself and carry myself. We are justice people. We were the ones that dished out justice in the home, were we not? We were the ones checking everyone was doing the right thing. We're checking, you're justice. Any youngest in the room tonight? Put your hand, youngest yet? There's no justice for you, is there? You know the world's not fair, and it's not fair in your favour. It always has been. Any middle children now? No, we don't care. We don't care about you. It's all fine. You're all the middle children. Well, I knew it. I knew no one cared. Oh. No, I won't say anything more. I could. I'll just leave that joke there. That's fine. Justice is a big deal in our culture, in our society. Like, justice is it's like we need justice. I don't know. You haven't got to teach kids about justice. I've got an 8-year-old today, and I've got a 5-year-old, and these guys, like, no one taught them about justice, but I swear they've been to some human rights kind of campaign to work out what their rights are, because they give this eloquent, passionate address whenever justice is not being done for them. They know how to stand up for their rights, and no one's taught them how to do that. The other day, Harmony got 2 mils more soft drink than Zeke, and it was a human rights abuse case, apparently, according to Zeke. He's like, Daddy, what is this? It's just like, justice must be done. The shows we watch on television, the podcasts we listen to. You know, there's all these new podcasts about true crime, like, was justice really done? There's all these TV shows. Here's a few of the shows that I've watched in the past 10 years, all right? And doesn't it feel good when justice is done in a TV show? Like, yes. Who's seen that one on the top left-hand corner? Anyone know when that one is? Taken? Has anyone seen Taken? Oh. Top right. Hello, I'm back. The top right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. It's my left. How good's Taken? Like, I don't recommend it. It's a violent film. Okay, sorry, but it's good. Something like it's about like sex trafficking, one of the worst, most evil things in the world. And there's no plot really. It's just a guy gets his daughter taken, and the rest of the whole movie is just him just going to all the bad guys. It's just so satisfying. Like, get them. They're evil. I don't want to admit this, but I was watching a TV show with Steph just this week, on some show on Netflix, and there's this bad guy. They go out of their way to make the bad guy bad, and they make you hate the bad guy, and you're just like, and I said, I was just getting so angry at this stupid bad guy. He's a fictional character, but he's making me really angry. And I said to Steph, I can't wait for him to get shot in the head. And she's like, whoa, it's a show. And I was like, yeah, okay. I don't know, what is in me that needs justice that badly? What is in me that's like, I need it to be done. We love to see justice done. All around the world, it's a big deal in our culture. How about last year? There was riots and there was protests all around the world when it came to racial equality. Saying, hey, we need a more just, we need a more right society. Here's the thing, we might not all agree on what justice looks like. We might not all agree on who needs justice in this room. We might actually not agree on how justice should be given out. Some people think the government should do more, some people think the government should do less when it comes to justice. We might not agree on so much about justice, but I can assure you, friends, whoever you are, whatever you believe tonight, whether you're a Christian or not, I can assure you that we agree on one thing, that wrong must be righted. Yeah? That there must be right done in the world. We've got different ideas on how it works out. But there is some kind of code we see, and we're like, it has to be done. So my question tonight is, why? We're so passionate about it that we actually don't stop to say, yeah, why? Like, why must justice be done? Why is that even a big deal? Why is it important to stand up and don't give up the fight? Why? I'm going to make a case today that Christianity gives us not just the best reason, but I think in this case, the only reason that's logically coherent for morality and justice. I think other kind of worldviews try and explain this, but this is the one. I spoke to a lot of different people about this. I've been in a lot of arguments with people about this, friendly arguments, that don't believe in Christianity. And I haven't heard one good answer. I've had lots of good answers for other things. Okay, we should listen to people when they've got answers for things. But I never heard a good answer to this question. Why do we have morals? Why do we need justice? So I'm going to make a case for two things tonight, all right? I've got about maybe 15 minutes left to make a case for two things. God gives us, number one, a morality that remains absolute, that you can actually set your watch to, that you can actually judge people on. And two, you need more than absolute morals, because that can lead to hypocrisy. That can lead to judgment. We need a justice that remains loving. And these are the two essential ingredients in a just society, in a just life. And I think you can't get it anywhere else than Christianity. Okay? You ready? All right, let me make my case. Number one, a morality that remains absolute. Why do we have right and wrong? In a secular worldview, as I said, I just can't see any answers. They're incredibly problematic. I've seen people do backflips to try and understand. Not literal backflips. Let me show you. No, I mean I've seen people do argument backflips trying to understand where morals can come from. Probably the best atheist argument I've heard would be that somehow we evolved. If some people believe in evolution, this is how we came here, and actually this is what's happened. We've evolved with morals. So people that were nice people that were genetically wired to be friendly, to be moral people that helped those around them. These people survived better somehow, and so gradually it's been a genetic trait that's been passed on to us. Does that make sense? It kind of makes sense. Hey, if evolution is a thing and you believe in that, well then that kind of makes sense. Here's my problem with it. All right, I've got two big problems with this idea. Number one, I don't understand. If you ask someone that believes in evolution, I don't understand how you could say that it's going to help you survive Okay, it's going to help you survive to love maybe people that are really close to you, because they might be able to help you get food and water. But how's it going to help you to survive to love someone from another country or love someone from the other tribe? How does that work in evolution? What's natural selection? Survival of the fittest. It's not survival of the nicest. In fact, nice animals die. That's the reality. Like, if you go, oh, that's okay, you have the food, that's fine, I'll just sit over here and die. Like, it doesn't actually work. That's not how it works. And so I think logically it's not very coherent, that idea. And the second problem I have, which is an even bigger problem with this idea, is if that is what you believe, if morals are just something that have evolved, then they're not real, are they? They're just something that's evolved. They're not a real thing, they're just a strategy. Morality becomes, if that's your idea, it just becomes a strategy of survival. So it's not actually real. It's a philosophical idea called moral relativism. And moral relativism said, and more people believe it than you would think, moral relativism said, you've got your morals, all right, so over here Simon's got his morals and I've got my morals, and he's got his code and I've got my code, and they can be completely separate, and that's okay. Everyone's got their own code. Everyone's got their own idea of right and wrong. Morals aren't actually real at all. And the thing is, if you take that idea to its logical conclusion, if you're like an intellectually honest atheist, here's what you come up with. Here's one of the most intellectually honest atheists I know. His name is Richard Dawkins, very famous atheist. He says, there is, at bottom, no design, no purpose, no evil, no good, nothing but pitiless indifference. Sounds like a fun guy, doesn't he? I don't want to live in that world. Do you want to live in that world? No one wants to live in that world. And here's the thing. No one does live in that world. And the reality is, I've never met anyone who's an actual moral relativist. Like, okay, Simon, you've got your moral code, mate, and I've got my moral code, and I stole your keys and I'm going to go drive your car away. That's in my moral code, that's fine, bro. I'm sorry. Is that going to fly? No. No one actually lives like that. They say, oh, like, you can do whatever you want, I want to do whatever I want. And like, we know deep down, no one can argue that there's something that's there. It says no. Abuse, if you abuse someone in Australia, it's just as bad as abusing someone in the Middle East, or in Africa, or in America, or in China, or in Antarctica. Doesn't matter where you do it, it's wrong. Doesn't matter what your upbringing is, it's wrong. Doesn't matter what you think, it's wrong. It's just wrong. Do you get what I'm saying? There is an absolute moral code that we all live by that actually lives outside of us. Now, there are some differences. I believe that, and there are some ways we interpret it differently, but deep down we all actually live as though morals are not relative. We live as though they're absolute. So how on earth do you explain that without God? I've never heard a good answer to that one. Why is it there? It's actually really sad when morals start to become relative. When you start to say that, oh, you got your thing, I got my thing. When you start to say that some people don't matter as much as other people, what happens then?
Well, that leads to not just racism, not just not very nice people. It leads to wholesale genocide. Like this idea, everyone said, oh, yeah, it's okay, okay. It's not okay. This idea has killed more people than any idea in history. The idea that some people don't matter as other people. That's when you get genocide. That's like communism. That's when you get the idea that rich and educated people aren't as important as working class people. No matter which way you cut, no matter which system you have, in history, just read a history book, you'll see it's killed millions and millions of people. We need an absolute moral code. And actually, I see social justice warriors from all types of belief in our society. And they're living by something that's real. They're looking, say, oh, is racism okay? And the racism is not okay. And here's why. So, what does it mean? How do we get it? This is where we look to the Bible. The best answer we have. Let's look at Genesis 1. Alright? This is the first chapter of the Bible. This is like God 101. Okay? God said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. And let them rule over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the sky, and over the cattle and over all the earth. And here's the important part. And God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. You see that? There's something different. There's something different about humans. They're not just a little bit valuable, they're incredibly valuable. We see it in the letter of Genesis 9. God's talking to Noah and he kind of has this, he says, look, just so you know, this is a very vicious, violent society back then, right? Many societies still are vicious and violent. He says, just so you know, when someone hurts someone, they need to be hurt, there needs to be consequences, okay? You need punishment, you need consequences for people. So we don't have a society where everyone's going around hurting each other. So he puts this very basic, very primitive kind of way of saying it. He says, look, whoever sheds man's blood by man, his blood shall be shed.
A really simple way of saying there should be consequences to people hurting people. But why is the question? Why? Why do we have morals? Why should we be good people? For in the image of God he made man. Just making sense. We get absolute morals from the Bible. You need to have a higher power. And if you're not a Christian here today, if you have a secular worldview, or maybe you're not sure what you believe, or maybe maybe us some Christians, and we're thinking, and maybe we're debating and we're talking with our friends, I can tell you, this is where atheism and secularism is at its weakest. Okay, this is just they have no answers for this. No good ones, I think. We get absolute values from the Bible. But there's a problem, okay? There's a problem. Absolute values don't lead by themselves to a just society. Absolute values are not enough, are they? Who's ever had someone or seen someone, or maybe you did it yourself, do something they thought was good, absolutely good, and actually hurt someone else in the process? Who's actually seen that? Yes? Isn't that so common? Absolute values are not enough, because correcting oppression can actually lead to new oppression. I see this happen to my kids all the time, Harmony gets more soft drink than Zeke, so he punches her. He was oppressed. I got less. I'm getting oppressed here. What am I going to do? Poof. Now he's the oppressor. It happens all throughout our culture. Like even right now in Australian culture, there's people that used to be the minority view. And those people in the minority view, and they were like the rebels, they were saying, we should be doing this, and don't shut us up. And then the people in power, they're trying to censor them and say, no, you're not allowed to say that. That's not what everyone believes. But now it's changed in the last 20 years. And now there's a different group of people in cultural power in the West. And instead of being the people that were the rebels, now they're the ones saying, no, you're not allowed to say anything. And now they're the ones oppressing others. They're saying, no, you can't say that, you can't say that. Do you see that happen all the time? Correcting oppression actually quite often leads to new oppression. I saw this most poignantly 3 years ago. So sad. I got to go to Haiti, a country with Compassion, who we have a partnership with as a church as well, Compassion International. And Haiti is a really sad country in many ways. There's some beautiful things happening there as well, but it's so sad. It's a country where French arrived at this place and they basically killed all the people that were already there. They didn't kill them on purpose, most of them. They just gave them diseases and they all just died. So they wiped out the indigenous population. It's already so sad. So what they did is they brought in African slaves. And they brought in African slaves and they worked the plantation. And not only did they do horrific, torturous things to these people, they actually ripped open the land and the land's not fertile anymore because of the horrible things they did. And the stories I heard when I was in Haiti about what the slaves had to suffer under the French people, it's just... I was going to tell a few stories, but I can't even tell you the stories. They're not fit for church. They're just disgusting, torturous stories, how they used to treat these slaves. And then, in 1792, the slaves rose up. They heard what happened in the French Revolution, and they decided to have their own revolution. And they raised up and they overthrew the French Haitian government. And do you think it was a nice transition of power? No. The stories that you hear about them are horrific as well. They went through and they raped and they killed little children. They were the children of the slave owners. Were they justified? That's a big question. You could say yes. Man, if you hear some of these stories, you could say, yeah, they were justified. That's justice that's been done. Maybe. But was it good? I can tell you no way. Was it good for them to be free? Well, we know, of course, it's good. Freedom. Of course, that's good. But man, they became the oppressors. And in fact, they're still living in some of the consequences of how that was done. That's a complicated situation, but you can see justice and morality can sometimes be complicated. We need a way of doing justice that means we don't become an oppressor ourselves. We need more than a moral code. Here's how Tim Keller says it. Tim Keller says we need universal values, but we also need something that undermines the natural, powerful human inclination to dominate others. Now, we've seen it in the world, but I reckon, to be honest, friends, if we're just honest with ourselves, we've probably seen it in ourselves too. Do you know what I mean? You've seen there's a desire in you when you've been hardly done by to not just right the wrong, but to right it and then some. Like right it and a little bit more just in case you do it again. Do you know what I mean? There's just this desire in all of us to dominate and to have. So we need more. We need a justice that does not create new oppressors. And where do we get it? Here's the thing. God isn't enough. Believing in God isn't enough. That's a weird quote for a pastor to say, isn't it? What does he say? The question is, when it comes to morality and justice, what kind of God? Man, people have done things in the name of God that are horrific. Horrifying things have been done in the name of God. What kind of God do we have? Well, here's the kind of God Christianity gives us. This is what Jesus himself said. I'm just going to use his words. Mark 12, verse 31. Love your neighbour as you love yourself. And then he ups the ante. I tell you, well, what about neighbours? How about we up the ante? Love your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you. And then he ups it to the extreme again and he says, here's the kind of justice I'm talking about. Because I'm God, I'm the Son of Man, and I've come. He says, the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. That is the kind of God we have. That is the kind of justice that we get when we approach the cross. We get a new story. We get a beautiful new story that shows us how justice can be done. Christianity gives us such an incredible base for real justice, because not only are the oppressed made in the image of God, but guess what? The oppressors are made in the image of God too. What do we do about that? Let me put it like this. This will really confront you, okay? When I said this morning, everyone's eyebrows were like, Not only does Christianity say every race is valuable, it says every racist is valuable. That's what Christianity says. It gives us a new way of doing justice. And at its very core, what is at the core of justice? Love. It says in Scripture that mercy triumphs over judgment. That's the kind of God we have, and that is the kind of God we see on the cross. And this is what Christian social justice warriors have always known. I think of my favourite Christian social justice warrior, Martin Luther King Jr. Incredible man of God, what he did. And here's a quote from him. The person who hates you most has some good in him. Even the nation that hates you most has some good in it. Even the race that hates you most has some good in it. Now, if you know what racists have done to him, that's an incredible quote. And when you come to the point that you look in the face of every man and see deep down within him what religion calls the image of God, you begin to love him in spite of. No matter what he does, you see God's image there. There is an element of goodness that he can never remove. Dr. Martin Luther King got it. Got this idea. that justice is found. Truly, a justice that doesn't start hurting people. A justice that doesn't crush those who need it. Is found at the cross. It's found in love. The cross is so unique. There's nothing else. I've never seen anything else like the cross. The cross where Jesus went, where love and justice meet. There's no other story like this. You look in all the different worldviews and different religions, you'll never get a story like this where God himself came down into human flesh and he lived a life that we couldn't live. He became the true Adam, the true Israel. He lived the vocation, the calling that we're all called to and couldn't do it. And he said, here's what it looks like. And he lived it out and he did it. And then he went to get justice. And everyone was waiting the whole time going, all right, Jesus, when's the justice coming? I can see who need it, the Romans. Those Romans, they're going to get justice. Woo, it's going to be awesome. And the Romans did get justice, I guess, in the end. I know God in the end gives justice to all. But what did it look like? He's thinking, it's not what you think. This isn't what you think. And I can tell you, some of you guys here, you've got some Romans in your life. You've got some circumstances that need to be changed. And you're saying, God, when are you going to get rid of the Romans? And Jesus, interestingly, he comes in and he annoys everyone. I don't know if I'm called Jesus annoying, but he was. He annoys all the Jewish people that he was there with because they're like, get rid of the Romans. It's like, no, I'm here to get rid of your sin. I'm here to be the person that you have been called to be. And I'm going to do it by going ultimately to the cross. And on the cross, justice was done. Adam was punished. Israel was punished. Justice was finally done. The covenant was complete. But what triumphed? Love. Why did Jesus and the Father and the Holy Spirit come up with this idea? Love. Love and justice meet. It's a love that serves, a love that forgives, a love that allows us to call out injustice in others, knowing that we are oppressors as well. So guys, I don't just want to put to you a concept tonight. The concept, I hope I've made my case, okay? The concept is that absolute morality and loving justice can only be found in the story of Jesus Christ. But I want to go beyond that, just to finish. I don't just want to make it a nice, interesting concept where everyone goes, I like that, and walk out with a good thought in your head. There's actually something else that God gives us. Not just absolute moral code, the law. Not just loving justice. I believe he gives us the Holy Spirit to show us how to do it. To teach us how to do it. And to give us the power to be justice warriors in the way that he wants us to be. Cross-shaped justice warriors. So there's just two groups of people I want to talk to tonight, all right? I want you to think about which category you're in, if you're in one of these categories. The first is, you guys, I want to talk to you, and the band you guys can come back, I'm almost finished. I want to talk to you guys who, you feel like justice needs to be done for you. You feel like the world, consequences, a person, your parents, your teachers, your in-laws, your boss, whoever it is. Maybe it's just health, maybe it's something no one's done to you, but something has been done to you and it's unfair. And you're looking around and you're going, how come no one else is dealing with this? How come I've got this situation and no one else has to worry about it? And you're crying out, you're saying, where's the justice, God? Why is it not fair for me? I want to talk to you. Here's what I want you to do tonight. Here's what I believe God's calling you to do tonight. God's calling you to let him be the judge. To take your righteous anger, which, it's normal to feel that, and actually say, God, this is yours. This is yours, God. I need you to be my defense. I need you to be my justice. I need you to be my king. I want you to give up on justice and give it to him, okay? Maybe tonight you need to give up on justice to yourself and give it to him. And the second group of people I want to talk to, I'm talking to you at home if you're watching as well, is those who feel that God's calling them to be a place where love and justice meet for someone else. Maybe there's a group of people. Maybe it's a group overseas. Maybe it's a group in your own life. Maybe it's a person you see at school or in your workplace. And God's asking you to maybe it's someone who's done something wrong to you, and God's saying, hey, I want you to be Christ here. I need you to be my Jesus here. Because incredibly, Jesus' Spirit is actually been put in you to allow you to do it. You might think, oh, I'm not very good at that. I know you're not very good at it. Neither am I. But guess what? God's really good at that. God's really good at being the place where love and justice meet, and He wants to do it in you. Who is it that you are being called to? Where is it that you are being called to be the place where love and justice meet? Let me pray for you, okay? Can we just stand up? It's a bit of a symbol to say, hey, we're in for this. Thank you. Let's just pray. Oh God, we thank you. We thank you that you make sense. We thank you that you are true, and the truth just needs to be set free. It doesn't need to be protected. We thank you that the more we go deeper into you, the more answers you have for us. God, we know that you are a mystery, and in the end we can never fully work you out. And if we could, well then you'd be a small God. We know you're a big God, and we can't work you out completely. But I just pray tonight, Holy Spirit, you come and you teach us how to be cross-shaped Christians. God, would you break our heart for what breaks your heart in this world? There are so many things that you're just like, no, my beautiful sons and daughters, no. Would you break our hearts for that too? Would you help us to take the focus off ourselves and put it onto those which need it the most, God? Holy Spirit, would you come and show us? And God, secondly, I want to pray for all of those who are just struggling because we feel hardly done by today. We feel a bit left out. We feel left behind. We feel stuck. We feel hurt. We feel attacked. And we're just wondering why. Why would you let this happen, God? Why did that person do that? So God, we just do now what you always call us to do. Every day you call us to do the exact same thing. And it's just put our trust in you. And say, God, you are the God of justice. You invented justice. We're not going to be more just than you. You invented fairness. We're not going to somehow become more fair than you. So we trust you, we place it in your hands, and we say, your kingdom come, your will be done. Can we just say that together all throughout this room? On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Your kingdom come, your will be done. We just freely confess that, God, because we don't want the opposite. We don't want our kingdom to come. It's pretty shabby. And it's not very fair. And ultimately, Father, when we just finish on this, God, we just pray that you might give us what we need. Because I need you. I just need you. That's my big prayer tonight. I need you, God. I can't do it without you. We need you to give us your grace. And God, ultimately, I thank you that it's not justice that holds us, it's grace that holds us. Because I don't want justice for myself, because that'd be a pretty bad result if I got what I deserved. We don't need your justice tonight, God. We need your grace. We need your love. We need your forgiveness. We need you. And everybody said, amen. Don't you need him tonight?
Thanks so much, Dan. That was a great message again. We really appreciate it. Make sure you jump on our website onto lifepoint.org.au for all upcoming events. We've got our Camp Somerset just around the corner. We're so excited. You don't want to miss out on this. This is such a great weekend away with our church family with water sports, fun, games, relaxing. We're in the Word, lots of worship. It's a great weekend away. Easter's just around the corner too, so make sure you subscribe to this channel, check out our website and our app for all upcoming information about Easter too. Thanks, church. Have a great week.